you for joining me. May God bless you. Have you ever noticed something unique about Easter? Something almost surprising. It is how Easter refuses to stay in the past. We try to keep it there. We place it in a familiar story, or we fit it neatly into a moment. And we revisit it once a year in a Sunday sermon. But Easter won't stay there. It won't stay contained in history because Easter was never intended to be just remembered. In fact, Easter was meant to be experienced. Now, when we think about the Easter story, we picture the cross at Calvary, that place where everything looked lost, where hope seemed to have collapsed, where love appeared to be defeated. And then there's the tomb, sealed, silent, and final. And for a moment, it feels like the end. But then the resurrection happened. Life where there was death, hope where there was none, and light breaking into the darkest place. And everything changes. But here's the question we have to wrestle with. What does that have to do with us? Because if Easter is just something that happened to Jesus, it's just history. A powerful story, yes, but still just an old story. But Scripture says something far more daring. It tells us if the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in us. Now think about that. The same Spirit that stepped into a grave, the same Spirit that pushed aside the stone, and the same Spirit that brought life out of death. That same Spirit now lives in you and in me, today, here, and now. Which means what feels dead in your life is not beyond God, and what feels finished is not actually over, and what feels buried is not the end of your story. Now, the sad reality is many of us are not living in the Resurrection Sunday experience. We're living in Saturday, that in-between place, where our prayers feel quiet, answers feel delayed, and we're not quite sure what God is doing. The disciples knew that space, how Friday looked like failure and Saturday felt like silence. But Sunday, yes, Resurrection Sunday, rewrote the story. And that's what Easter shows us. How the tomb wasn't just empty, it was proof. Proof that what looks sealed can be opened. Proof that what looks dead can still live again. And yes, proof that our story is never over. So today, Easter is not just about what happened then, it's about what's possible now. Because Christ didn't just rise for us, he rose to live in us, and that changes everything. So today, every time you speak faith after a disappointment, that's the spirit of resurrection. And every time you choose hope instead of standing or staying in darkness, that's the power of resurrection. And every time you believe that God still has more for your life, that is the spirit of resurrection. So Easter isn't just about a stone being rolled away way back then. It's about the stones being moved in our daily lives. Stones of fear and shame, regret, doubt, and pain. And when you hear those dark voices that whisper, "This is as far as you can go," the power of Easter responds, "No, there's more. More life, more hope, more grace, more tomorrows." Because in a single Easter moment, God can change everything in your life. May God bless you.